So the good news on the week is obviously Landon Thomas, the big tight end out of Georgia that landed at Florida State when it came down to the Dogs, the national champions, and the Noles. And Mike Norvell makes this move and gets a top tight end in the country, top 25 player. This has to put a big smile on both of your faces.
What's even cooler about it is that's three guys from out of the state of Georgia. You got we got our quarterback Luke Cromenhall, you got Cam Davis, and now you got this kid who actually was committed to Florida State before he was committed to Georgia. So to quote my boy CJ Wilson and his joke, it's always get your girl back season. No matter if you lose her, you go and sing enough love songs and stand outside of her door, you might be able to get her back. So this is a great pickup for Coach Thompson. And it looks like, and the cool thing about Landon is the minute he committed, he went and talked to Fox. And then there's another 4-star tight end that has more measurables like Murlock than him. So if we're able to show what we can do with Jaheim Bell, Landon Thomas is going to be way comfortable with this. And then if we show what we can do with Biscuit, which is Marquise Douglas and Kyle Murlock, I mean, then it's even then we might become tight end in a relatively short amount of time.
I have been telling people for quite some time that Landon Thomas was one that you keep your eyes on because of how many times he came to Florida State. I mean, he literally was there every weekend. He was starting to show up on Wednesdays, like just out of nowhere, the kid would show up. And I really think it's because of the practices that he got to see from Florida State and Jaheim Bell that got that extra energy back into him to want to come to Florida State, seeing how they were going to utilize Jaheim Bell, him being a very similar type player. He was already, like James said, was already committed to Florida State in 2021. We had a terrible season, so he opened his recruitment back up. And, of course, when the best of the best wants you on there, you go check it out, and they do their due diligence on recruiting you. You commit to Georgia knowing that Florida State's in your back pocket. He knew that he was going to come back to Florida State multiple times. And each and every time that he came back, it just felt more and more right. We also landed B.J. Gibson, a 4-star athlete. We landed another 4-star. I don't want to butcher his name, but these two wide receivers that we landed right before Landon Thomas did not get the amount of hype because they're not Landon Thomas. But Florida State, as far as the recruiting trail goes, has been heating up and like literally going temperature by temperature. It gets a little bit warmer, then a little bit warmer, and then finally something explodes with someone like Landon Thomas. And I've seen a comment on here where someone said that we seem to be doing really good on the offensive side of the ball. I would like to see the defense fire up. Well, all I can say is get ready. Don't forget about C.J. Hurd, even though they dropped him down to a 3-star. Don't worry about the stars with those specific gentlemen. Just trust me, they're good. But you're fixing to have a safety that's in this country now at the top of his class that's eventually going to commit to Florida State. You've also got, I'm hoping that this linebacker stays true to what I think he's about to do, and he commits to Florida State. And then we've got a couple of cornerbacks that are going to potentially be committing to Florida State. I personally think our offense is going to be phenomenal. And James and I have talked about this multiple times on Spear Addicts. We want linebacker recruiting to heat up. We want it to get better. We don't quite understand what we're doing at that position. And then all of a sudden we land someone, but he's a developmental project at best. But from the rumors that I'm hearing about who's coming to campus and who we're trying to land, we're going to be fine. And then don't worry about Patrick Surtain, the new DB's coach. He's got plenty of guys that he's about to pull in and that Florida State's going to land. So our defense, I mean, what we can take up to 24, am I correct?
25, I think.
25, yeah. So I think this is going to be one of the larger classes that Norvell's taken since being the head coach. Usually we take 16 to 19. This year, I think you make it over the 20 mark. And Florida State's going to be fine on the defensive side of the ball. You're going to start seeing those guys land.
Some of you folks love this show and they love this channel so much. You know what you could do? You could sponsor us. Hit me up at MarkRogersTV at Gmail. Let me know, and we will share with you how we can benefit you. If you need more benefit than that, then hit me up at MarkRogersTV at Gmail, and I'll let you know what we can deliver here at the Voice of College Football, Florida State.